So maybe we will start now. So thank you for joining. This is our first public product success. So for those who are joining from external side of Olympe, the idea is to share with the community everything which is going on the product in terms of development, and also share like demo or new patterns, methodologies, things that we have been building with Olympe and that people want to share. So it will be, so this first session it will be like in 30 minutes. We will have 3 main topics. We'll try to make it short, make sure we have the time to go through all of them. And the idea is first to show you a little bit what will come with the next release coming beginning of March. So major features that have been developed for that new release. Then we wanted to share the branching tracking big topic we are working on the product. So it's coming in a few next releases, but we want to share it with you so that you can already provide some feedback and see what is coming, and maybe imagine what you can do with that, improving your day-to-day work. And finally, we will continue with 2 short demo of one to illustrate how we use AI in Olympe, and another one to illustrate how we can easily create collaboration tracking in an app. So that's it. And in the end, we will have a Q&A session. So the idea is that anytime you have an idea, feedback, a question you want to share, just go into the Q&A tab in Teams, and you can ask the question, and we will come back to it at the end of this session. Okay, so let's start. Oh, maybe I didn't present it myself. Actually, I'm in charge of the product in Olympe. So yeah, I'm the architect of the platform, and you will discover here today a few of my colleagues working also on the product. So yeah, that's it. So first element of that release, which is coming next month, is the ability to actually access your environment dashboard. So it's a external Kubernetes dashboard that has been put made available for external people without going through the VPN and having a complex configuration to access. So there are just 2 links to remember or to put in your bookmarks. One is for production environments. It's quite simple to remember. It's infra.olympe.io, and for development environments, you just add the CI. So from that dashboard, you will be able to watch everything which is running on your environment. So backends, the orchestrators, all the jobs, and so on. Run other jobs yourself. So just trigger them. It can be a snapshot and a date, things you are doing day to day, but in general, by asking the internal team. So here it becomes available for you, as well as accessing the logs of all those things that are running on your environment. So if I show you quickly what it looks like. So if I go, for instance, here on infra-ci.olympe.io, I have actually accessed myself to 2 environments, which are named DrawCodev and DrawQA. Those are internal environment used for development inside Olympe. And as you can see here in the pod section, I can see that I have few processes that are running on my DrawCodev environment, as well as 3 other on DrawQA. And if, let's say, I want to check what are the logs of the orchestrator, it's as simple as that. I just click on View Logs, and then I have, the history of what happens on my orchestrator. And from that dashboard, you have quite a few possibilities. You can also execute some shell command directly inside your pods. go to, for instance, cron jobs. As I was mentioning, you can start, trigger some jobs, so the install or update or the snap shooter. And yeah, that's somehow what you can do. So just ask to your Olympe reference to get an account. It's super simple. Just have as a external users of Olympe, you can have an Azure account, guest Azure account on our side, and starting from there, you will be able to log in to that new dashboard. Okay. So that was about the Kubernetes dashboard. Let's now move to the new feature you have in Draw. It's about the ability to protect your bricks against other developers you would have in your team. And typically for critical bricks or items that you want to protect, it's a bit like on GitHub or GitLab, when you would have some protected branches that only few people in the team could have access to. And that's why we have added a new role. So far we had either contributors or the viewers, and now we have also the maintainers. So the ex-contributors are renamed as developers, and the maintainers are the ones who are, let's say, more leaders and have more permissions on a project. And as soon as you are a maintainer, you can actually take any folder, brick, item in Draw and click on Protect, and you will see that small shield appearing here that indicates that actually that brick becomes only editable by maintainers. So quick demo on that one, going back to Draw. So here I'm authenticated as user 1. Oh no, I'm admin, sorry. Just check, oops, switching to user 1. Yeah. So I'm user 1 now. Yeah. And in that project, as I showed you, I'm a maintainer, while user 2 is a developer and user 3 is a reader. So it's as simple as that to change the roles of other contributors. And here I can typically protect or unprotect my application or a folder. And as soon as I change the protection level of a folder, everything which is inside will inherit from that one. Okay. So as a maintainer, I can go everywhere I want and still continue modifying my bricks and so on. That's for sure working. But now, what if I'm logged as user 2? So here is another tab where I'm user 2. And again, I'm a developer. So as a developer, I cannot change the roles of my colleagues. But I cannot neither modify the items that have been protected. So it's as if it was, it's actually read-only. So as we had before for read-only projects, okay? And if I go in my folder where I had a non-protected action, since it inherits from the folder, that will be read-only as well. So yeah, that's an improvement we offer now today to help you managing the permissions and the access for typically critical bricks you would have in your project. Voilà. So that's coming. And the third, but not least, last but not least, item that is coming in that March release, which is a big improvement on the list usage feature. And I will switch to and give the word to Benjamin Girardet.
Thank you.
Who is working on the project. He will share some slides and do a demo.
All right. Yes. Hello, everybody. Let me share the screen. And as Simon said, I want to show you some improvement on the product that are coming in the next release, specifically about the list usage. So for those of you who know and use the platform, you are familiar with this pop-up, which lists all the usage that we can find when we want to know where a brick is used, for example. And it's coming from this visual appearance to this one now. So the idea is to bring more information into how to find the usage and where actually they are located. So let's have a look. Oh no, sorry, just a few points. What we have tried to achieve is to take many feedbacks we had about this list usage capability, and we wanted to make it available from many more places. For example, the function signature, we're not couldn't have the list usage feature. Previously, we improved the listing usage of specific element. For example, the property and the events. It was not correctly providing the usages, and we improved the UI to find more easily what we are looking for. So what it does is, I just wanted to again show how it looked like before. This is the usage of get from current context, and we can see it's used in many places, but it's hard to know precisely where it is, and sometimes the name are so long we cannot see the end. So for large project, it was really cumbersome. So if we take the same example now, and we take the same break, it will look like that. And basically what this pop-up now does is you can filter by project. So if you want to know a specific break where it's used in a specific project, you can select it from the list here. And so let's take this one. It's already way shorter and easier to find. If we take all project, we can also do a search. So for example, if I want to search because I know it's related to a theme folder or something like that, we can easily find where it's used. So, and plus you have the icons now, so you better know in what kind of places it is actually used. So yeah, you can click and jump to the right place. And just to show you a few of the new things that were not available before. So just first, maybe this brick here listing concat. Concat is used in many places. If I click here, you can see now it has automatically filtered by the current project. It's doing so because it has found a usage of concat inside this project. When I was doing the previous test, it didn't have any get from current context usage in the core project, so it was listing all project by default. But if you are in a project where the brick is used, it automatically filters, because most of the time you want to filter inside your own project. And yeah, so now the function signature have a list usage here. You can know where it is used, but for all elements, also when you are opening inside an editor any elements, there is now the list usage button here as well. So you can immediately find from an editor where the specific element you are working on is used. So this is also probably quite useful. So function signature now are you can find them, and also for the data models, this is brand new. It was not possible before. You can know where a data model is used. So for example, base object here is used as my data type 1 inherits from base object, and then we can find that, and we find it that also in another data model folder somewhere else in the project, here in the special section folder, there is another data type that inherits from data type from base object here. So you can jump from one data model folder to another. So in large project where we have config data types and inheritance all over the place, it really brings more visibility to that. Here, let's go back to the first data model. We can see that my data type 1 here, for example, is also used as a relation in the my data type 2 in another folder. So it can really find wherever the data type is used as a relation, inheritance, input types, whatsoever. And finally, also the properties, you can search for where they are used. And this is super useful in large project again, when you have big data models and you want to know, okay, where do I set this property again? Which brick is responsible for that? So now you can click here and it will bring you to the right place. Again, it works for relation as well. So if you want to know where you create a relation between objects, you can do it from here. So the idea here was really to make list usage available everywhere and make it so that you can search for things. Maybe a final thing that I want to show, in the visual components, you might use sometimes the list usage from the property here. And we used to have the magnifier icon here. We don't have it anymore. Why? Because it will tell you when specific property is used, and it will show you how many times it is used. I guess this one is kind of, I don't know why there is so many here. So could be an issue that I still need to fix before the release. But let's say if on the save button, for example, the on click is done only one time. So there is this one number. So you can immediately see if a property or event is used. And finally, for this visual component here, it has an on-save custom event. And it is here labeled as used two times. Once inside here, the my visual component, because I dispatched this event here. But previously in Draw, it couldn't find usages of this event used outside of this my visual component here. But now we have fixed that, and we can also find that inside my visual component too, we use the same event, and we can link to it and find it. So we had project where we didn't find all the events, and it was hard to discover how things were working. So we fixed that as well. So that's it for list usage.
Thank you, Ben, for that presentation.
No, and the second topic I want to discuss, and I will jump right to it, is the branching. Branching will come in a future release. So this is an early presentation. It's very much a work in progress, but the idea is that we want to collect feedbacks. So feel free to put any questions or feedbacks in the chat or in the Q&A of this meeting. And yeah, the goal of the branching in Draw is to provide the ability to create branches, obviously, so that multiple versions of the same project can live in development simultaneously. Or we can also have a master branch, a stable branch, develop branch, feature branch. Coming with that, we want to be able to track or blame who did what in a project or in an instance of Draw. And we also want, of course, to have the ability to merge branch into one another or cherry pick some of the changes. So those are the aims. And let's have a look what we have so far. If this wants me, okay. So let's log in as an admin in this instance. It's a local instance, and it has not much in it. Let's say I create a project and I can start working as usual, but I have now this possibility to create a branch. So let's create the first branch. Let's call it the main branch. Whenever we switch a branch, for now at least, and probably at least for the first release, it's gonna reload the application. So now you can see we have a branch. So we have kind of started branching on that instance. I can continue working. I can create a brick, created from main. For now, everything that is done on main is not really tracked, but I can create branches to start tracking. So I will create a new branch. I will call it a stable, for example. And then I can create yet another branch for the development activities that would allow to work on develop, push to stable for a pre-production environment, and then push to prod for releases. And I can switch to develop branch like that. Now let's use another user for the sake of the demo. And if I go inside the project and I create a new brick, this is an action. and I reload because for now it's not live. I can go here and I can see that I have a head. Well, let's see. Well, yeah, I have a head. This head have some changes from the admin user and from myself. So here the idea is that every commit will collect whoever has worked on it. So we will have a list and we can track who did which changes. We can click on head here, and then it will open the list of changes of what happened during this commit. And we can see we have created an action called brick created from develop. We can open to see more details on what is this about. It has been created inside the new project. And you can see we are trying to display what happened in a change in a human readable way. It must combine together many different transactions and low level operation. And we want to display them in a higher level visual appearance so that we can know what happened and potentially in the future being able to revert some of those operations. Yeah, so we can see the changes here. We can see so a new action. It has created two control flow as an input and as an output. And we are still currently trying to find how to collect together all those changes and what are the changes that make sense that should be one operation and whatnot. Because here, if I go on this one and I create a new input, and let's say it's going to be a first name, obviously this should be a single operation in the changes, and it should be created new input. Of course, I need to reload again. It should be like create string input first name on brick created from main. So this is our current attempt to list operation in a human readable way. So the possibility is to create and switch branches, list the history, and here in the settings, the idea is to be able to add collaborators on branches, and only those collaborators will be able to make changes on the branch. So we saw the protect feature just before. The idea here also is that every branch has a list of authorized collaborators that can make changes, and for other people, it's going to be read only. Yeah, so that's where we are at the moment for the branching feature.
Thanks a lot, Ben. So we'll continue because I see the time flying. But I guess this is really a big change that will happen in the next few months in the platform. So please give us your feedback also in terms of UI features, what you would expect from that. Thanks a lot. So let me share my screen again. Okay. So let's jump into showcase demos. I give the word to Julien to show us how to use AI in Olympe.
Hello, guys. So let me share my screen. Let's see, what do we have? No, definitely not. Okay, so let's start by maybe getting to an exercise. So if you want, you can scan the QR code, which is going to open you an application on your phone, if you wish to. It's just gonna showcase basically the ChatGPT demonstration. The goal of this application is actually to scan some pens, and basically ChatGPT is gonna count the pens. So if you have some pens at hand, basically with this application, you will be able to take a picture of it. Okay, I guess you got the time to play it. Actually, I think I have it running, but it's gonna be difficult to run it live. I'm just gonna show the stats maybe and play directly. So I'm taking a picture there. Let's see. Okay, so basically I see that you are playing. Some inputs are coming on the screen. So basically this is what the application do. Every time you take a picture, it's gonna ask ChatGPT to count the pens, and we record it. Okay, so now just to show you how it's done and how you can leverage that directly in your application, Let me open so the row directly, and more specifically, what is this is the function which occurs when you click on the button, which is called count pens. Okay, so there is a bit of noise in the beginning, which is some loading pop-up taking the picture, but the break that interests us is really the GPT-1, which takes many inputs, but the main one is really the prompt. So the prompt, as you can see, is pretty simple. I just ask count the pens on the picture and give the number. We provide the file, and that's it. This is what you were saying when playing with the application. So basically, in order to do that, the only thing that you have to do, because here I just counted the picture, but I can really ask a GPT what I would like. So, for example, a light question that ChatGPT is going to sort for you. We can simply just plug it and like that. Let me unplug this one maybe, and like that. Now, if you click on the count pens button, you will have what GPT think about that question. So yeah, basically, as I was saying, in order to play with that, the only thing you have to do is to import the Azure extension. Okay, so we can get into that break. I managed to double click on it still. Okay, so it's the Azure extension that is used in many of the projects we already got. So the only thing you have to do is to host that remote action on a backend server. And then actually, this is what is written on the documentation of the break. There is a few secrets that are mandatory to be injected that you can just simply put in your config file. Just like that. Okay, so you put directly the parameter that are missing because OpenAI requires an API key to run. And when you've done that, basically you're free to play with that break. So that was how we play a little bit with OpenAI those time in Olympe.
Cool, thank you very much. Sounds great. I will build some application with that. Okay, and last, again but not least, a second demo from Jael, who is showing us an advanced usage of some APIs that we are providing in the Olympe platform. So Jael, the floor is yours.
Yes, let me share my screen.
You're muted.
I am?
Or no,
can you hear? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Okay. So
you have something to share? You want me to share the slides?
Oh, you have the slide in this. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, perfect. So basically, I will talk about the service API, which is an API provided by our framework and which allow us to communicate between different runtimes. So, for example, from a backend and a front end. And I will demo how to use it through a real use case that we have in one of our projects. So the need that we had to implement is very simple. So we have a UI app. So this is a front end, and in this front end there is a UI component, which is supposed to show the list of the online users. And this should be in real time, meaning that if someone joined the application, we need to add it automatically in the list. And if someone leaves the application, it needs to be removed. And so basically here you have a little schema. You can see that there is a backend at the middle. There is a few front ends. And in one of them leaves, the backend then needs to notify all the other front ends. So as I said, we need to have a backend just to keep the state, so the list of the online users. So you can jump to the next slide. No worries. So to use or to run something in the backend with Draw or with Olympe in general, we have two options. Currently, there is the remote action and the service. So with the remote action, you can start a process in the backend. You can give some input and it will give you back some output. So you can send data to it. And a service, as you know, this is a bit different. You are not sending any data, but it is running forever. So again, you can move to the next. So the first one, as I said, if we want to communicate with a backend, so from a front end, we have an option to send some data, and we can receive data back. But in this case, you need to use a remote action. You will use input and outputs, and it will just run once. Then you have a service. As you can start it, but you cannot really send some data, and you will not receive anything back. And so the question now is, in this use case, we need to have continuous bidirectional communication, because you need to say to the backend, okay, I'm just joining the application, please add me to the list. And then the backend should also send notification to all the users saying, okay, this user just joined, please update your list in the front end. So to do that, the response is by using the service API. So service API, if you want to use it, so here this is an example if you want to use it in a coded brick. So basically, you need to create two bricks, one in the backend and one which will be run by all the front ends. So in the backend, this is very simple. You just need to create the service and then listen for the request. So here, the first line, we are just creating the service. Then we are creating the list or the map, which will contain the online users. So this is the map that the backend has to maintain up to date. And then we are listening to the service. So as you can see here, we do user service.listen, and then each time that there is a new subscription, so each time that the user joins the app, this case, so the case subscribe, will be executed. And you can see that we are receiving a user ID. So this is the first line of the case subscribe. So this is the data that is sent from the front end. So this is used to communicate from a front end to a backend. Okay, then we are just keeping the list up to date, and we have the publish line. So here we are sending back the information from the backend to the front end. So this is how we can communicate, or we can send data from a front end to a backend, and then from a backend to a front end. So yeah, as you can see, with maybe just 10 or 15 lines, we can have the service API, which is running at the backend at least. Then if you move to the next slide, we have the same thing, or the implementation that we need to do in the front end. So here, you just need to subscribe to the service. So you observe the service with the observe method. And then each time that we receive a data from the backend, so the publish line that we had on the backend side, you have this next method which is called with the data. So here you receive the data from the front end, and then you can use it in your UI application. Okay, so you really have this continuous communication between backend and front end. You can send data, the backend will receive it. You can do something and then respond, and the front end, all the front ends will continuously receive the new data. Then here we are just an example. So it was for this use case, we just maintain a list of the online users, and this list you can see online users, the list. So there is me, Simeon, and Benjamin, and if one of them leaves the application, it will be automatically updated. Yeah, so behind the scene, this is using WebSocket. So basically, you have all the advantage of this technology, meaning that if one of them, if the backends or if the front end is killed or just not there anymore, it will stop the communication. But otherwise, you will have this continuous communication between the two. And this is also available in Draw. So here I just show you how to use it or to create a brick, a coded brick. But if you want to use it in Draw, we have 2 bricks available in the commands extension, open service, which is the one that you need to put in your backend, and call service, which is the one that needs to be executed by the front end. Okay, that's it.